All right. Nonetheless, who are some specific people in the city you guys want to see on the show this year? I'll tell you who I'd really like to see. I'd like to see like a major politician come up. I would love to talk to like a major politician because it's election year.
You should get Elizabeth Warren on here.
What? Did I tell you how I saw her?
Really?
Yeah. I didn't tell you guys a story.
You told me.
So my dad lives in Fresh Pond, Cambridge. Do you know what that is? Probably not. Fresh, you know Big Fresh, right? I mean, Big Fresh, you know Fresh Pond, right?
I feel like I've seen it on the map maybe, but I don't know where it is like in relation.
Alewife.
It's a big pond next to Alewife.
Okay.
So she lives in that area, and so sometime in the fall, I was like walking around the pond, and some guy was walking the other way because there's a big track around the pond, and he was walking at me, and he was like, "Hey, dude, do you know who that is in front of you?" And I was like, "No." He was like, "That's Elizabeth Warren, man." And I was like, "Oh, bet." And like, you guys don't understand how psycho I think sometimes. So I had a wristband on me. I was like, "Oh my god, if I give Elizabeth Warren a GDP wristband, it's game over. We're global at that point, right?" And so I like speed walk ahead of her, and she's with her golden retriever, which is conveniently named Bailey, of course, golden retriever, right? And she's with her husband, and I walk like 500 steps ahead of them. And then I get in push-up position, like on the track, because I know the dog's going to attack me, right? That's what dogs do. So the dog, like, bodied me. It, like, attacks me. She's like, "No, Bailey, no, don't do that, no." And she comes up and goes, "I'm so sorry about Bailey." And I was like, "Oh, no, it's no problem. Like, I have a golden retriever myself. Like, not a big deal." So I start walking with her and her husband, right? And they're kind of like, what's this kid, like, doing here? Like, he should not be walking with us. And I was like, "Hey, so you guys, like, from the area or something?" So mind you, this whole time I'm thinking, how do I get this girl a wristband? They're like, "No, we're from Oklahoma, but, like, we move around a bunch and blah, blah, blah." And so he had a Patty's hat on. You guys know Patty's? It's like this total like dive. It's like where my dad goes to drink sometimes in Cambridge. It's just like Irish pub. And he was like, "Yeah, we love going to Patty's, blah, blah, blah." And so they could tell I was like kind of just like being annoying because like I knew who they were, but I wouldn't admit I knew who they were. Because I kept asking them all these questions like, "Oh, where do you guys normally fly to?" So they pretty much just like walked ahead. They're like, "All right, yeah, have a good day. Okay, that's enough." I was like, "Fuck," I saw the wristband on. So nothing came of that. That's my bad.
You emailed them too, though, right?
The campaign.
They didn't get back?
No, they did. A lot of them are like, "Yeah, we're doing groundwork, and then we'll get back to you." That's kind of what's been happening with the politicians. Yeah. With the first two mayors, too. Like, took a couple emails back and forth for the most part.
Have you guys seen that show You on Netflix?
I've heard about it. My sister was watching it.
Because, like, I don't know, just listening to that kind of, like, reminded me of that show.
What is it?
Because, all right, like, it's, like...
This is about to be mad disrespectful.
It will. It might be a stretch, but, like, the main character is, like, this, like, psychopath, like, who, like, on the surface, he seems like a normal guy. And, like, he, like... whenever he falls in love with these girls, he kind of like stalks them, and he's like just like very good at like predicting people's reactions and like setting them up to kind of like meet him and like whatever. So like I don't know, that just sounded like that could be a scene. He's like, "All right, like I'm gonna walk up behind this couple, like I'm gonna lay down because I know the dog will attack me."
So you call me a sociopath? All right, bro, I get it.
Just showing.
This is C-Mac, aka Young Fountain of Youth.
And this is Jack, aka Bixx.
And this is Abu, a.k.a. Big Fresh.
Caught the pass. This is Big Bochi. And listen, I'm very grateful for this team here. Pass it to Slugs.
And this is Sarah Slugs, and this is our golden hour.
Oh God, what's going on? Where am I going? Dad?
Yes, my son. I am Deuce, the deer god.
I'm so confused. Who am I?
Derek. Your true name is Dercules. Dercules.
Wait, what?
Yes. You are Dercules, the god of the forest. Season 5.
Hosted by your favorite podcast host, Big Bochi. You already know the deal, mother. What's up? Whoa. Good morning, good afternoon, good night. This is Conor Hall of the Golden Hours podcast. And listen, before we begin, if you by chance get any sort of value from this episode, I got a feeling there might not be a whole lot produced. But if you do, listen, if you laugh, you cry, you're entertained, you learn something, just share it with a friend. And Slugs, if you don't have friends, you
shouldn't be listening to podcasts.
Exactly. I love you, Slugs. Good work. Also, I should not be promoting this anymore, but there's something in my blood that just loves marketing stuff, man. The GDP team, who everyone will meet today, is throwing a fat, and when I say fat, I spell it with a P and an H, fat marketing / networking event called GDP Hustle here at GDP Studios. And listen, we got over 50 brands and companies coming, and right now, at the time of the recording, we're about 11 days out. It is going to be insane. I normally, and I'll tell you guys, there's always a snowball effect when you're marketing something for a long time. So like last 3 days, 4 days, there will be a huge spike. We're like pretty much sold out, and we're like 11 days out. So I'm going to be losing my mind in a couple days. I'm going to warn you guys, I won't be composed. You guys are going to just be doing what you're doing. I'm going to be in heaven. That will be happening. And now, I've been excited for a lot of episodes. I think, what number are we at now? Does anyone know? 155? This will be one. And that's not including all the ones we had to scrap early on. It's probably like 165. Okay, so this is like almost episode 170. I have not been more excited for an episode because you guys get to meet the team who makes the podcast happen. The podcast has grown a lot in terms of just getting stuff done, moving. We got everyone is playing a different role. I'm really excited to introduce everybody. We do it every episode anyway, but we are missing 2 key characters today. One, Sammy Spielberg. You got to get your license, man. All right. I love you, bro. You're a great guy. Also, Frankie Films is somewhere in China. You guys have met Frankie. He's been up on the podcast before. Nonetheless, I'm just going to pass the torch. We're going to start with the guest of honor today. Who's in the building?
It's Sarah Slugs. I'm here, and I'm excited to be here and meet everyone finally in person.
Slugs is the GOAT. Next.
You got C-Mac, a.k.a. Young Foy, Fountain of Youth.
Yes, sir.
I don't know why Connor's saying we're not going to produce any value. All we do is produce value.
I like that. Russ, come on.
Hey guys, it's me, Jack, aka Bixx. I'm here, back from Vermont. I made it.
Let's go.
Yo, Big Fresh checking in for another episode.
So, Big Fresh, when did we start, like, pumping out work?
I want to say like August or July, around there.
What was the first episode you said it on? Do you remember?
It was either Lance Tobin or I feel like it was.
Were you there for Dave Wedge?
I remember editing that episode. I don't think I was there for.
But you were there for Lance Tobin.
Yeah.
And I remember you were like, yo, dude, this room is mad small at Phoenix Down. It was this tiny little studio.
It looks smaller than it does on camera.
Absolutely.
In real life, yeah.
No, it is small in real
Yeah.
life. It's like very, very tight. And I was like, all right, man, I guess we got to find a new spot, get a little more spacious. You're like, yeah, you should probably do that. Big Fresh always gets his way. Slugs, what was the first episode you did?
I did Isaac Feldberg, which is like 10 episodes ago.
Oh, yeah, and he was coincidentally from Northeastern, right?
Yeah, also a journalism student.
Whoa. Deja vu. And C-Mac, your first one was?
Greg O'Brien. That was a good one.
He's coming to the event.
Yeah, I know. He's a good guy.
Yeah, he hooked it up. He like connected me with like 3-4 other, because he does all the accounting for startups, so he's got a bunch of friends coming. Bixx, the first couple. Oh no, you were there for the first one.
I was there for the first
But
one.
what about the first one at Phoenix Down? Because remember, there's a little bit of a gap because you were at school.
Oh, I couldn't tell you.
You don't remember?
I got no clue.
Okay. Well, I figured we'd start this episode off by just kind of everyone announcing what their New Year's resolutions are and what they want to get done this year. Slugs, be honest.
This year, I really want to like work on promoting my journalism, and I really want to get into international reporting. So I'm doing like a journalism intensive study abroad thing, and I want to learn how to like navigate through different cultural barriers and stuff like that.
Is this the thing that you're going to like Jordan or like Middle East?
Yeah.
Whoa. So that's like totally certified you're going?
Yeah.
Even with like all the stuff going on?
We'll see.
Has the school brought that up at all?
Not yet. I got like a thing today. They're like, you're confirmed.
Oh,
Book
so
your
for
flight.
when are you going?
May.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's going to be wild.
I know. We're going to interview like Syrian refugees and stuff. So it's going to like really promote pique my journalism abilities.
So question, when you say you want to promote your journalism, how can we work that into the show? Like, do you want to do like deeper pieces on like more like influential figures on the show?
Yeah. Like I don't really know what I want, like which aspect of journalism I want to get into, because I like film editing and I also like audio, but I also really like writing. So, I mean, I do that here.
Well, I'll toss this one up. If there's a pocket we haven't hit on with the show yet, what would you guys want to hit on? Like, what would you want to try?
I was thinking about this the other day. Academia, kind of. I feel like there's a lot of intelligent people around us with Harvard and Tufts and BU, Northeastern.
Any specific branch of academia? Because I'm not much of an academic,
yeah,
so.
I know. Might be tough, but I don't know. I was...
Like a doctor or something?
Yeah, well, yeah. PhD in some sort of field that we're interested in. I don't know.
You feel the same way?
Yeah. I think it would be
Like,
interesting.
yeah, get on that, Conor.
Like a doctor, and you can ask them like myths busted or something. I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of things that are misconceptions out there.
Yeah, surprisingly, still to this day, one of the most downloaded episodes was Scott Sigmund's when he was the opioid sparing, which is pretty cool. What do you think, Big Fresh? We tried to do a doctor or something?
I think doctors would be cool. Yeah, like I like that part about like myth busting common myths, I guess.
Well,
and then also like, at least just for my own interest, anyone in like computer science / like AI field. Because I feel like
are there people around here?
I mean, you have like MIT and like Harvard, so those are like the capitals for kind of computer science.
We're just smart people.
Yeah.
Well, dude, I've been working on trying to pick some stuff up with CMAC, but I'm totally down. Anytime you guys want to get someone up here that you're like, yo, it'd be really cool to hear from them or really cool to meet them, I would love to use the podcast as a platform to do that for everybody. Like, totally. If there's someone like you're urgent to meet or a company you want to like maybe get into, I'm totally down to do that with the podcast. Jack, what do you think we haven't hit on yet? Jack's over there whipping out graphic design. It's my fucking dog.
I'm thinking maybe a graveyard digger.
That would be fire.
Like
He's probably seen some crazy shit.
I want to hear some ghost tales. No bully.
Oh, some Salem witch trials type.
Ooh, now you're speaking my language.
Let's go. We talked about this recently. You guys know how messed up the Salem witch trials were?
I don't know the full extent of it, but
I'll give you a quick
I know there's
synopsis.
some, like, burning involved.
I'm not familiar with the burning. I don't know where you
Burning
heard
at the stake? I
that.
thought
There's
you did.
definitely burning involved.
Yeah.
Listen,
I know there was like drowning. Like if they drown, they're not a witch. But if they survive, we
what
gotta
they would
kill 'em.
do is anyone who the community would suspect practice witchcraft, they would have a trial and they would say, okay, we think you're a witch, right? They would put weights around their ankles, like heavy weights, and then they would drop them into a bog. And the theory was if they came up, they were a witch and they would kill them. And if they didn't come up, they were dead. That is what it was. And no one ever came up, obviously. Holy shit.
What was that, like 1850s?
I have no clue. One thing, I don't know if you're the same way, Big Fresh. But obviously, you're from Mongolia, but you grew up around here. Do you know anything about the Revolutionary War? Because I literally know nothing, and me and Jack were like born on Paul Revere's trail.
I know a little bit of it just because like Waltham and Lexington like played a big role, and like I had like a history teacher in high school who was like, he was like a PhD and like a certified historian at like BU and shit, so or BC, so he knew his stuff and he like kind of drilled it into us, but by now I feel like I've forgotten a lot of it.
I literally don't know. Do you know anything?
It's one of those things you learn in second grade and then you kind of kiss it all goodbye.
What do you want to know?
You don't know shit, do you?
I know a little bit.
Yeah.
I feel like collectively we could
What are you trying to figure out?
Who was the third president of the United States?
John Adams?
James Madison, right?
Was it Madison?
I think there was.
Who was it? Slugs.
John
I don't
Adams
know.
was second, right?
The Adams brothers were 2 and 4, I thought.
I think three's Jefferson, right?
I think it might be.
When was Nixon president again? All right, so we got that covered. So we want to do some more academia. Again, I'm down. If you guys are like, okay, this would be a cool person, I'll send you the script I send out for most emails. Also, you guys have no clue how many emails I send a day right now. Oh, God. Never complain, ever. Okay, next. New Year's resolution, journalism. C-Mac, let's hear it.
I got a couple, but I think podcast related, I want to produce 30 at least. It's tough with the full-time job, but I think I can do it.
I think it's feasible.
Yeah, no, I think so too. Come the summertime, I think we can pump them out, especially if you're working on some other shit.
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing the yoga. I like the yoga, and I really want to learn Spanish. So.
Fresh, you're doing yoga too, right?
Yoga gang. Yeah,
Fuck yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
Where do you guys do it?
Core Power, free first week. Yeah.
I go to at the BSC. They have like classes every week.
Yeah.
Once or twice a week. Yeah.
That's nice.
Hot yoga?
No, just regular.
Core Power is hot yoga.
Do you guys think it's placebo at all?
What do you mean?
What, yoga?
Yeah.
No, because
Big Fresh, remember the thing you were saying about the vegan stuff too, bro.
what?
You're like, yo, I feel so much better on this vegan diet. I feel amazing. You know, like a month later, he's like, yeah, bro, I started to work in some meat like a couple days a week.
I mean, that was just kind of like, I don't know. But I think, I think with yoga, because like you're physically moving your body, like you feel better. And like, I think the meditation part of it has like really done wonders for me in terms of kind of like just slowing down my mind and kind of choosing what to focus on, and like having control over what I can focus on.
I feel like you're just completely against the idea because your mind's always racing, so it's tough for you.
Well, my mom's I'm like, Mom, like I can't slow down. I just can't. Mom's
Have
like,
you done yoga in like a proper setting before?
I woke up at 5 a.m. once to go do yoga with my mom, and
I mean, if it's the first thing that you're doing in the morning and you don't want to do it, I feel like you're not going to enjoy it and get the best out of it.
I concur, but I also have something called ADHD where it's like, whoa, I cannot focus and like sit down for a while. It's always kind of been my problem.
The intentions need to be there, and it's definitely focus. You got to balance yourself.
I think that's the thing, though, is when I do yoga by myself, I can't get more than like 10-15 minutes per session. But when you're in the class, like surrounded with all these people doing the same thing, you like sort of have no choice but to like follow along and kind of do everything. And I feel like that over time builds this habit of either it's like self-control or self-discipline, like in your mind. At least for me, that's what it is.
Oh, so you feel more disciplined because of it?
Oh yeah, hell yeah, yeah.
Discipline's a crazy thing, man.
It is.
If like you're just extremely disciplined about everything, I've just started to notice the benefits like crazy.
It's like the number one key to success, I feel like.
You think so?
Yeah.
I think having drive is probably.
But what's the difference between that and discipline? I mean,
I think drive is just the motor to just keep it going, no matter what.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I guess I see a lot of successful people that eat like shit and drink soda all the time, and
I know plenty. Yeah. But some people just keep it going. You know what I'm saying? Like, for instance, Peggy, I don't know what her diet is or how she drinks, but she's wildly successful.
Yeah.
She's like run huge companies, and you would meet her and you'd be like, what? But it's just because she never stops.
Yeah.
She just keeps it moving. Slugs, do you do yoga?
No.
Yeah, me neither.
I'm not. I've tried it. I'm not a fan.
Too slow, right?
It's tough.
It makes me like everyone around me is so calm, and I can't get calm.
It's also one of those things, like, everybody around you doesn't give a shit. Like, I've learned that is like everybody's there because they want to work on themselves. It's not like, but your instinct is to think like, what the fuck are these people thinking? But like,
no one that's the one thing I realized last year. Like, no one actually, as messed up as it sounds, cares about your problems.
Yeah.
I mean, people that love you and care about you do. Like, I care about like your guys' issue. I care about you guys, but like the world doesn't care. So like, why should you? My brain didn't say that, or
No, it's true, but I mean, that yoga isn't really a problem. That wasn't. I was saying more like everybody in the yoga class is there for one reason, and that's because they want to be
do
there.
better.
Yeah.
Is that one of your goals, Big Fresh, fitness related or for the year?
Yeah, to do more yoga and like be a little more flexible. Yeah.
Were you doing it a lot beforehand? Like
No, because
Yeah.
when I was swimming, we would do yoga once a week for recovery, but you know, for the most part, it's just everyone kind of like fucking around. Some people are focusing, some people aren't. So
swimming's fucking crazy too.
Yeah.
I love that.
Do you have any music related goals this year?
Put out a project, do a cool like release party or something, listening party, whatever.
Let's do it here.
Yeah.
I'll help you out with whatever you need, man.
Yeah.
I mean, we were talking about this last year. Like, do you want it to be cohesive with all Boston artists, you think, or?
In a way, yeah. I don't really know what I want just yet, but I feel like when it hits me, I'll be like, okay, I want that.
What, on like a sonic tip, you mean, or like how you want to
as well.
conceptually?
Yeah.
Bixx, let's hear it.
This year I'm just trying to do some bigger projects. You know, get my my head wrapped around some bigger projects.
Dude, can you look up?
Oh, sorry. And you know, just trying to stay fit, try to stay healthy. You know, better myself. But yeah.
Are you doing fasting 2020?
I've been fasting.
I'm saying you're gonna go all year.
What do you mean?
I'm just wondering, you gonna fast this year?
Yeah, I'm not gonna eat for a whole year.
Good. That's fine. Me too. Okay. All right. Now I want you guys to be brutally honest with me. We don't have to necessarily do this on wax, but where do you think the podcast can improve? I'll tell you what I think. I think the audio quality needs to get better. Like I either need to, and I'll consult you with this, Big Fresh, but like I either need to get us better mics. It just consistently we have some mics that are not robust sounding, and there will be like someone who sounds spacious. So is that a mic thing, or
it's a little bit of a mic thing. It's also I've been thinking about this, but I feel like for Logic we should have a preset that applies like little like compressors and EQs and whatever like to it beforehand or as we're doing it, so that like when you export it you don't have to like re-edit it.
You don't have to tweak it.
Yeah. But it's like a little bit of mic out, but also just like I don't know what you call it, like mic etiquette. So like, you know, having the proper distance, like not being too close, not being too far away, like having the angles right and all that.
Would you say that's probably one of our biggest issues?
I feel like it can affect the sound very heavily
Mm-hmm.
if it's not done right, for sure.
Dude, you can be blowing me.
Huh?
Does the audio sound like trash?
You
no.
said it, not him.
What else do you think we can improve on?
I think, sorry, I don't mean to butt in, but I think we can get better mic arms.
Okay.
'Cause these make a lot of noise like when you like move them and like slow them. And,
I can do that for us, no problem.
Weird. It's like,
So you don't like these ones?
I think they're okay, but the other thing is like the nicer ones are like pretty expensive. So.
Well, I'll drop the bag if it's going to improve the show. I don't mind.
He could also use one of his own.
Yeah.
Oh, you have one?
I don't.
No, I'm saying look at him. He's holding his hand.
Oh, yeah, just hold it.
No.
What do you
I'm
think,
saying-
C-Mac, in terms of improving the show?
Let's see.
Also, while you're collecting your thoughts, I just want to say I'm very grateful for all of you guys. Very, very grateful. I mean it. Like, the team, it works very fluidly, and like we could not move as fast without you guys. So thank you very much.
Got you, man.
Anytime.
Thanks, Slugs. Oh, I'm waiting on you.
Alright,
Sorry, I'm brain dead.
Where could we improve? I don't know. I mean, there's points where you're having a conversation and the guy's kind of going on, and you butt in here and there. I think if you just sit tight sometimes and listen a little bit more, because the best
Just get
thing.
bored sometimes.
Yeah, I know. It's your ADD. But the best thing is like having the people talk. Like that's gonna produce the best content, I feel. But I don't know. Besides that, I'm impressed with the show. I like where it's going. I like where it's been.
Bixx.
I would really like to fix a little text at the bottom of our YouTube videos.
Facts.
That's a big.
Oh, he's staring at you, Slugs.
It's a big pet peeve of mine, but we'll get there.
So you guys got to realize Jack he whips out graphics. He's actually the most talented graphic designer you'll ever meet. And so like the Instagram's like it's like his brainchild. It's like because I don't know a better looking Instagram than ours. It looks incredible.
Well, Conor kind of finally gave me creative freedom on the Instagram, and I've been really happy with
When was it finally? Didn't we do this like last year?
Nah.
When did it start?
No, you still made me do certain things,
Like what specifically?
like certain side pics.
Well, yeah. Sometimes we gotta give people information.
I got you. Don't worry.
Okay, whatever. I'm really gonna choke slam. Yeah, we actually do got to improve those lower bars in that Slugs. I'll help you out. That's my fault too. I should have given you better direction on that. Slugs, how else could we improve?
I don't know. I haven't really been here that long.
You having fun?
I am.
Okay,
I love
word.
it. Yeah.
I'm pumped. Your parents are coming up to the event. That's huge.
I know.
Yeah, invite your mom and dad.
I will. Yeah.
They're gonna be like, "What is our son doing?" Big Pressure's like a cutoff. I was like, "Let's go." I wonder if my parents are coming. Well, my mom is coming at least, and she's like, "Bud," well, she calls me John Bob. My mom, that's just like her nickname. She's like, "John Bob, what you're doing is so incredible." She's never been to a party though, so kind of got a mixed basket for the crowd. I'm nervous. It's gonna be some.
Never been to a party.
She's never been to one of ours.
Oh yeah.
Pretty wild.
Yeah, I guess that's.
We had when we threw the last event at the Summer Shack. So Hope It Hope's an incredible performer and entertainer, but so she went balls to the walls. So she started twerking in the seafood restaurant. It was crazy shit. It was nuts. Okay, so we went over that. What else?
What are your New Year's resolutions?
Well, I said it in 2019 before the turn of the year, but this year, one, I want to throw a great event on January 17th. That was written down. And then I have another project, which I think most of us are familiar with, Slugs. You might not be, that is giving me insane discomfort to think about. It is, because it's totally out of my realm in terms of my skill set, but like I just got to get it done. Hate it.
You're doing it though.
I got to do it though. I wrote it down. I'm just obsessive about the list.
What's number 3 though?
I can't say about that, bro. All right. Nonetheless, who are some specific people in the city you guys want to see on the show this year? I'll tell you who I'd really like to see. I'd like to see like a major politician come up. I would love to talk to like a major politician because it's election year.
You should get Elizabeth Warren on here.
What? Did I tell you how I saw her?
Really?
Yeah. I didn't tell you guys a story.
You told me.
So my dad lives in Fresh Pond, Cambridge. Do you know what that is? Probably not. Fresh, Big Fresh, right? I mean, Big Fresh, Fresh Pond, right?
I feel like I've seen it on the map maybe, but I don't know where it is like in relation.
Alewife.
It's a big pond next to Alewife.
Okay.
So she lives in that area, and so sometime in the fall, I was like walking around the pond, and some guy was walking the other way because there's a big track around the pond, and he was walking at me, and he was like, "Hey, dude, do you know who that is in front of you?" And I was like, "No." He was like, "That's Elizabeth Warren, man." And I was like, "Oh, bet." And like, you guys don't understand how psycho I think sometimes. So I had a wristband on me. I was like, "Oh my god, if I give Elizabeth Warren a GDP wristband, it's game over. We're global at that point, right?" And so I like speed walk ahead of her, and she's with her golden retriever, which is conveniently named Bailey, of course, golden retriever, right? And she's with her husband, and I walk like 500 steps ahead of them. And then I get in push-up position, like on the track, because I know the dog's going to attack me, right? That's what dogs do. So the dog, like, bodied me. It, like, attacks me. She's like, "No, Bailey, no, don't do that, no." And she comes up and goes, "I'm so sorry about Bailey." And I was like, "Oh, no, it's no problem. Like, I have a golden retriever myself. Like, not a big deal." So I start walking with her and her husband, right? And they're kind of like, what's this kid, like, doing here? Like, he should not be walking with us. And I was like, "Hey, so you guys, like, from the area or something?" So mind you, this whole time I'm thinking, how do I get this girl a wristband? They're like, "No, we're from Oklahoma, but, like, we move around a bunch and blah, blah, blah." And so he had a Patty's hat on. You guys know Patty's? It's like this total like dive. It's like where my dad goes to drink sometimes in Cambridge. It's just like Irish pub. And he was like, "Yeah, we love going to Patty's, blah, blah, blah." And so they could tell I was like kind of just like being annoying because like I knew who they were, but I wouldn't admit I knew who they were. because I kept asking them all these questions, like, oh, where do you guys normally fly to? So they pretty much just like walked ahead. They're like, all right, yeah, have a good day. Okay, that's enough. I was like, fuck. I saw the wristband on. So nothing came of that. That's my bad.
You emailed them too, though, right?
The campaign.
They didn't get back.
No, they did. A lot of them are like, yeah, we're doing groundwork, and then we'll get back to you. That's kind of what's been happening with the politicians, with the first 2 mayors too. Like, took a couple emails back and forth for the most part.
Have you guys seen that show You on Netflix?
I've heard about it. My sister was watching it.
Because, like, I don't know, just listening to that kind of, like, reminded me of that show.
What is it?
Because, all right, like, it's, like...
This is about to be mad disrespectful.
Yeah, it will. It might be a stretch, but, like, the main character is, like, this, like, psychopath, like, who, like, on the surface, he seems like a normal guy, and, like, he, like... whenever he falls in love with these girls, he kind of like stalks them, and he's like just like very good at like predicting people's reactions and like setting them up to kind of like meet him and like whatever. So like I don't know, that just sounded like that could be a scene. He's like, all right, like I'm gonna walk up behind this couple, like I'm gonna lay down because I know the dog will attack me.
So you call me a sociopath? All right, bro, I get it.
Just showing signs of it, I guess.
I took a test online like a week ago. I was mad bored. Have you guys seen the YouTube page Infographics or something? Or like Info? No, not Alex Jones. There's some like big major YouTube page that has like a couple million subscribers. The test is like, are you a psychopath or not? And it's like, it gives you a rating. I was luckily not a psychopath. I was like borderline. Thank you, Slugs. I was like borderline criminal though.
That's all right.
How do they test you for ADHD? Do they test you?
Oh yeah.
What are like, because that's what I was wondering about today. Is like, I don't know if I was ever like supposed to be like diagnosed and never did, or like what, but like.
Do you think you have it?
I kind of do, yeah.
Nowadays, it's kind of a joke.
Yeah, that's the other thing is like, I don't want to like just go to the doctor and be like, oh, I think I have ADHD. And it's like, oh, like here are pills. Like, I don't think they'll do that, but like that's.
Yeah, they might. You'd be surprised.
But like, what's the like the test and like the threshold for that?
Well, when you look at me, you'd be like, that guy's got clear cut problems. You know what I'm saying? That guy's off the walls. But they ran a lot of testing. I think it's something they'll apply to a lot of kids growing up that are just hyperactive in class. And there are a lot of kids. I mean, I'm sure you guys dealt with a lot of kids like in your classes, right?
My little sister now too.
Well, is she still taking?
Yeah, I think so.
She is.
Shout out Maggie.
Shout out to Maggie. But yeah, I mean, I think the first sign is your teachers be like tell the parents like, hey, your kid is like, we can't control this kid. Like, we want to like pump him with a tranquilizer type thing. You know what I'm saying? But I got like a bunch of psychoanalysis done when I was young, like a bunch of different therapists, and then when I applied for extra time for testing, I think I was telling people some time on the podcast, wasn't I? How like they do a test where you're staring at a screen and all these letters are popping up and there's a keyboard and you have to click X every time you see X on the screen. That's like one test. They'll also do like a logic and reasoning test, and then they'll ask you a questionnaire. I think it's a spectrum for the most part. Why do you think you have it?
Well, so maybe a clarifying question is, what are the main differences between like ADD and like ADHD? Because I know H is like the hyper deficit.
I think it's just the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think it's, again, I have a really hard time sitting down and writing. That's why I'm very grateful for you.
Do you have a hard time sitting down and reading things?
I do all the hardest things for myself right early in the morning. So I'll read and write right at the beginning. But yeah, like sitting down and reading stuff for me. Audiobooks are great.
Because that's where I've struggled with the most, is just like reading. And so like often like if I'm like, especially in high school or like middle school, if I was like reading like an English or like a history book, like I would read one paragraph and then I didn't know what that paragraph was about. So I would have to go back and like read it over again. And then like somewhere in the middle, like if a certain word like strikes it like or sparks a thought in my head, then my mind will just go to that.
I'm the same way.
I have to like reel it back in.
Yeah, but I also think it's a blessing in a lot of respects. You're definitely more creative because of it. I mean,
Yeah.
Bixx had a smorgasbord of learning disabilities growing up too.
Wow.
He did. But how do they test you, like therapist, psychoanalyst?
Well, they kind of just knew because I wasn't really responsive.
Oh, we were fucking around, bro.
I was trying to speak in another language. That was not.
Jack was also catching bodies at a young age too.
Okay, yo, come on.
He was. He asked him about how I instigated a fight between him and this kid Adam Markovitz.
Oh yeah. Connor threw a ice ball at my face and blamed it on another kid.
And so Jack mauled the other
So
kid.
I mauled the other kid, and I got a detention for it.
That's real shit.
Connor was a bit of a handful growing up. He
Well-
would stand on the desk and scream, "I'm Johnny Appleseed," and like
That's real
he
talk.
had this whole like little gig that he would do, and he did it for about 3 years. But I thought it was hilarious every time he did it.
We were getting in a lot of trouble back then.
That's a fact.
Yes, sir. I did some crazy shit growing up. Well, Jack, how do they test you for your things?
Similar to you, just like questionnaires, stuff like that.
Did you ever get certified dyslexic?
I don't know. I had like a number of things I got like tested for. I'm not sure exactly what it was. It was a long time ago. I was like 5 when I got it done.
Do you think you're dyslexic?
But I have like a whole packet of all the issues I have. So if you wanted, I could tell you later on.
Do you think you're dyslexic?
Possibly, yeah.
It's all right, bro.
I'm not sure. I'm not saying for sure I am, but there's a high possibility I am.
Slugs, you got any issues?
No.
You're boring, man.
Sorry.
Well, do you know how they tested your sister, C-Mac?
I think it was. I think my parents kind of already had a clue, but then, yeah, they went to a doctor and they ran a bunch of tests. The doctors are like, it's okay. You're not that crazy. But,
You're not like the other kids.
Yeah.
It's okay.
No, it's like, nowadays it seems like a lot of kids probably have it, but it is like the more hyperactive kids. But like the phones and technology kind of makes it a lot more easy to develop, I guess, because
A retention problem for sure.
yeah, definitely.
Do you guys feel that way? Like you have less focus now than you did maybe 3-4 years ago?
I think I've been able to gain some of it back just because I'm.
Because you're off your phone all the time.
Yeah, but
What about you, Slugs?
Yeah, I think that I used to be able to focus for so much longer, and now I have to like take breaks when I'm doing things because I'm just like overwhelmed easier.
Do you have an issue reading, or is that easy
Yes.
for you?
I hate reading.
Oh yeah, I do. I
I
did
like
too.
plug it into Google and have it read it back to me sometimes because I just don't like to read.
How do you learn best?
Probably like kinetic learning, so like doing things, or kinesthetic. I think that's what it is. Like doing things, so like actually like building something, or like I was always really into like the wood shop classes and art classes and like doing things.
Being hands-on.
Yeah.
I feel you. Was picking up the edit easy for you? I thought you picked it up almost instantaneously.
The first one was
First
tough.
one, me and you struggled a little bit. That's okay though. But you picked it up like almost instantly.
Yeah, I like wrote down a bunch of notes, and then like just like step by step. So once I did it the first time, like I just did it, and then I was like, okay, I got it.
So is something like that easier for you than writing an essay?
No, I like writing, but I don't
Oh,
like
true.
reading.
Okay, but like a simple homework assignment, what would be easier, that or an edit?
Probably. I mean, like writing is all I do in my classes. So they're like write an essay, and I'll like write 5 pages in a night, no problem. But that's like what I'm studying.
True.
But like if I was to do like say it was like a reading assignment, it could be like 2 pages, and I would rather do the edit first.
Yeah.
And that could take like 2 hours.
Yeah, I feel you. How do you guys combat procrastination? Right now, Big Fresh, how do you do it?
I don't think I do. I just like really wait until the last minute for like everything.
That's the Big Fresh way, baby.
I don't know. That's
Still
like,
get it done though.
Yeah, that's the thing is like, I don't know. I've always been that way. Like it's just like I would always wait until like the last minute and then kind of just crank it out like under pressure. Like I don't know if that means I perform well under pressure. It might not, but like I don't know. I've just never been able to like start something and then be like, okay, like I've started it. Let me come back to this in a couple of days. Like it's just never worked for me.
Yeah, what's that called when everyone always saves something for the last minute? It's like some sort of tendency. It's a word for it. No, yeah, that. But there's some sort of like. Like we're having an intelligent
I
convo.
feel like there might be a word for it.
Like a personality trait?
I don't know what it's called. No. Oh, Bixx, you got it?
Just forget about it.
There's the haymaker from Bixx.
I would say for me, I'm similar. I push off things to the last minute, but I'd say it really depends on what it is.
I'd say you've gotten way better at it.
So, like for creative things, a lot of the times I feel like it's last minute because I kind of have to just go in the spirit realm and really just.
But who's on that ass though? Who's on that ass though?
Conor stays on.
I'm on that ass, boy.
But for like little things, like doing these little graphics for the event, or doing thumbnails, like that's pretty
Quick.
As soon as I get it.
Yeah, you like meandering on the bigger ideas.
Yeah.
I get it. I totally understand. Well, because it seems like it's a harder thing to tackle. Just like a T-shirt graphic is a lot more comprehensive than a flyer for the event.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even if it's less simple, it's still more difficult.
For sure, because to conceptualize it.
Yeah.
I totally get it. I mean, I just, like, same shit. Like, writing is so hard for me. It's so hard for me. But selling something or, like, making a pitch to someone is, like, really easy. I'm the same way. Like, instantaneous shit, it comes so much easier for me than something that's, like, actually logical.
Yeah, but if you were doing, like a blog style writing, or like I'd say like a blog style writing where it's more like first person, like this is my opinion on this, like you would have zero problem doing that.
If I was selling that crack.
Well, no, sitting down would be hard, but the actual aspect of you writing like a blog style essay would be incredibly easy for you.
I'll tell you guys one thing about writing, and Slugs, you can probably speak to this, but I write better when I'm fasted. Would you agree? Like, typing is easier for you when you're fasted?
Yeah, but you have to have that like sweet spot.
Oh, you got it.
But I also like when I'm feeling like absolutely terrible, like that's the best time to do it.
To do the computer work.
Yeah.
Nice.
Because I'm just like, might as well suffer through this too.
I love it. It's a great way to
Pain,
think.
sorrow, misery.
Slugs, when's your sweet spot for writing? Like, when do you feel most creative?
Probably just like early in the morning. Like I just wake up and I just like to do things. I used to.
You're a fucking animal.
I used to be like one of those people that's up really, really late at night. But this past year, I've been more of like an earlier, not like 5 a.m. early, but like 6, 7. And I just like to wake up and do things because then I know it's done and I don't have to do it later.
Oh, so you're calling us lazy?
No, I'm not. I'm just saying I'd rather do it like
I feel you.
day before post day.
Because then all the stuff starts coming up.
Yeah, exactly. Like
Yeah.
you never know what the day's gonna throw at you.
That's a fact. I want to do a quick segue to you three, and feel free to sparingly toss in this, but I've been totally fascinated by your guys' thoughts on psychedelics and the effects they have on your mental. Because you guys have, I mean, I probably will never take it just because I'm like kind of a like OCD. But can you guys kind of attest to like your thoughts on it right now? Do you think it's something that people should try once, or?
Well, I'm reading a book, How to Change Your Mind, which is all about the new psychedelic or the new science of psychedelics, and I think it's. I've only done it once, but I think it does change the way it like you come into touch with certain areas of your brain that you don't normally feel, and you kind of get an understanding for everything. This guy seems to believe that it's better to do later in life, like
how old?
50 years old, so you're like ready for like the back nine kind of thing. But I don't know, you guys might be able to speak more to it, but I just think it's like you kind of get this understanding that all these events have happened in your life and they've happened for some sort of reason, and you kind of only have one go at this. You might as well just make it the best go you have. I don't know how you guys feel.
Fresh.
Or if you want to talk about it.
I think it's for everyone it's different. For me personally, like it was not a big deal. Just because that's kind of how my brain already works. So when I did trip, it was like, oh, this is basically my everyday life, but more intense.
You felt enhanced.
Yeah, because, I mean, honestly, that's all I do all day is just reflect on my life. And so that's kind of what happened. Like, for more people who don't do that, it's really intense because they're experiencing all these emotions that they don't usually deal with or don't think about. And then, boom, they have to deal with it for 12 hours straight.
You agree, Schuback?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of made it like a more of an event than most people do. I think like I kind of just took it, went into a room by myself, and like sat down and basically meditated for 6 hours and
Did you eat shrooms or you did a tab?
And
Is that what you did, Jack?
I've done both. I've tripped acid a couple times and I've done shrooms.
Same effect for you?
Different effects, but shrooms is like being really high on weed, basically. It's really not that extreme.
But the acid was that KO.
That's like whoa, especially when you're doing more than 1 or 2 tabs. Whoa.
Okay. Freshie.
Yeah, I think it really depends on the person. It's like if you like
What did you take?
The first time I did shrooms, and I think I took like a little too much. And then second time I did acid, one like proper full tab. And then any of the later attempts, I've always just like taken like a half a tab and then just smoked a little bit of weed to like, as like a safety measure, I guess. I don't know. But I really think it like depends on you and like whatever state you're in at that moment. Cause like if like you're someone who gets overwhelmed easily and like aren't able to kind of like rationalize things like in a quick manner, then like I think you're very likely to have like a bad trip that'll kind of leave a mark on your psyche or your brain or whatever that like you'll always kind of like come back to, and like it'll like bring up all these like negative feelings. And then I think the other thing is if you have like a lot of like unsettled like guilt or like certain thoughts like that you don't want like being amplified, it's definitely like not the right thing to do, because like I think those things will just come back like tenfold, like just like really hard at you.
Yeah, really all it does is make you think. So if there's things that you don't want to think about, you're gonna be thinking about it. So like this guy preaches the best thing, the number one thing is set and setting, and I think that's like if you're not in the right mind state, then you shouldn't be doing it, because it makes the world a difference, and everybody that experiences a bad trip says it's because they just weren't ready and they weren't in the right state of mind.
Like I don't
So did you enjoy it, Big Fresh?
Yeah, because I don't think it should ever be like an escape from anything. If anything, it's more of like an exploration, like into your mind or whatever. But when I did shrooms, I enjoyed like the first 70-75% of it. I think like because when I had taken it, like I told you this before, but after like the first hour, I like wasn't like really feeling anything. So I was like, all right, like I'll see a little more.
I used to do it with the Adderall.
Yeah. And then how long did your like first shroom trip last?
I don't know. It wasn't. I wouldn't say shrooms did anything special for me. I mean, I did feel the effects of them, but it wasn't very intense at all. Like I would say, like I felt like I had done like a large bong rip or something.
Just give me like a time for
A few hours, 3-4 hours. It wasn't that long.
I took it at 8 p.m. and I didn't like pass out until 7 a.m. And I was just like full on like
Wow.
balls to the wall.
Well, that was the case for acid, and that's kind of like what I don't like about it, because you don't sleep for straight up at least like 6 to 12 hours. And I'm like, yo, I'm just trying to go to bed. Like, can this be over already?
So that's like that was like where I kind of stopped enjoying it. It was like I like started thinking like, oh, I'm gonna be like this forever. And like that's the thing is like,
I get it.
when you're in that state, you can't like rationalize very easily. So like if you don't have those skills in the first place, like it's gonna be super hard for you to kind of like snap yourself out of it.
So what was happening when you were nervous?
I mean, it was just like restlessness and like feeling helpless, because like I don't think I was aware that I was like tripping. Like you just think like reality is like what you see.
So did it expand your visual field? And we're talking about shrooms specifically. See, Mac, you have not done shrooms, right?
Visual. Well, what do you mean by visual field?
Some people will just say like your things will start blending in front of you, or things start moving.
I saw like crazy shit, but like I don't know if that like changed how I perceive things going on.
Do you remember what you saw?
I remember one thing vividly is like, have you guys ever seen that show Alphas on Sci-Fi?
No.
It's like about these like people with superpowers, and one of them has a superpower where you can like see like radio waves like going through the air, like whether it's like your laptop or like your phone or whatever, and like the show shows it as like this grid of like blue lines kind of just intersecting and kind of dodging each other and going in all these directions. And like that was kind of like what I was seeing when I would like lay down in bed and look up. I could just see these like blue, like light blue lines kind of flickering across. And I don't know if that was just like what I saw, or if having watched that show I kind of like imagined that into reality.
What color were the waves?
Like light blue.
And were they like circular? Or?
It's just like if you had like blue threads that glow, and you just kind of had like a grid of them just going across in every like different
They were like lasers.
Yeah. But like they weren't like you couldn't tell where they started and ended. It was kind of like a rainbow almost. Like you couldn't touch it, or you couldn't like tell where it started or ended, but you could like see it. You know?
Were you like, this is dope when you were seeing it, or was
just
this
like, what the
nervous?
fuck is going on?
Oh, so you were scared.
Yeah. And then the other thing that was like that I still remember pretty prominently is like I had done it with my friend who was like kind of trip sitting me, which I think is a very good idea. I don't know, like doing it alone. Like,
No, I wasn't
could
alone.
do
I had
that.
friends that
Oh,
just
okay.
went off on my own
Okay.
because fuck them.
But their dorm was on the 20th floor of like this tall building, and mind you, I'm up at like 4 a.m. and so when it's that late and it's like spring, like everything in Boston tends to fog over, and so I think like when you're on the 20th floor, I don't think you're above the clouds, but you're like pretty high up that you can't see the street. And like for a second I thought I was like, oh fuck, like I'm on a spaceship leaving like Boston and I'm never gonna come back. Like I started getting very emotional. I was like, damn, I'm never gonna like see my family or my friends again. Like, how did I even get on this spaceship? Like, and then so this was in like their common room, which has like these like panoramic glass windows, right? And so that's
Where
where
you BU?
No, this is
Like a 20-story dorm. must
Mass
be.
Art.
Oh yeah, so same neighborhood.
It's like that. It's split between Mass Art and Wentworth, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I leave the common room and then I'm in the hall and I'm like trying to go back to my friend's room, but as I'm walking, like the hall keeps extending, and then I turn around and walk the other way and it keeps extending. So like I think like I was just literally walking back and forth in this hall for like.
It's like an
10,
Alfred
15 minutes.
Hitchcock movie.
Yeah, and like that was the other thing is a lot of the movie stereotypes that they kind of like show you about like drugs, like it's like very real, like that's what you experience, like
You feel the same way?
the
Was
light
it accurate?
trails and the echoing and like all that.
Yeah, to a degree. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't think you could really capture it on film.
Yeah.
It'd be difficult, and so obviously they like dramatize it, but I do think there's plenty of aspects that are accurate.
Slugs, you've never done, right? Okay. Yeah, I would have you chime in, but I haven't either. This is like news to me. So, Mike, you feel the same way? Like you couldn't depict it on film, just like totally different.
I mean, it's like they've said, it's based on the person, and I felt it was all internal. Like for me, it was just like whatever my mind thought was what my mind thought. But I think Big Fresh kind of got onto this, like the trip sitter is like the big thing. Like this guy's always talking about like the best thing to do is, or the only way to make it work properly is to have like a guided trip, which I think would be pretty cool. Like have somebody like kind of talk you through it, because there are points and times where they say like if you make it over this hump, then you'll be good, but if you don't make it, then you're kind of into for a long haul. So
That's a good way to describe
yeah.
So what's interesting though is like you guys are all grateful for the experience, but you seem indifferent about it. It doesn't seem like you guys are saying like you should definitely do this, or you shouldn't.
I mean, nobody can. I think it depends on the person. I'm very grateful for the experience because I think I did have like a very spiritual, like mystical experience. Like
Awakening.
Yeah. Like
I mean, dude, I don't know if it's correlated, but you're obviously a new person than like
yeah, no,
2 years ago.
I think it's definitely correlated. And granted, part of it was because I was already kind of transforming into a different person, so I was in that
That's a big
mind state.
big
Yeah,
thing,
I was like, all right, I'm ready for this. Like, I want to do this, see what happens, and it definitely helped. I enjoyed it, and for anybody that has their shit together and is thinking about it, I would strongly encourage. But the biggest thing is having your shit together.
So when you went into it, were you like, okay, I'm going to try this because it might give me some sort of experience that will leave me with some benefit on the other side?
Yeah, I had done a lot of research, and I had looked up a bunch of information and read a lot about it, and it was all kind of the same stuff that we're saying. Like, if you're gonna do it, you wanna be in the right setting. Don't do it late at night. Like, I did it early in the morning, so I had like my day, and then I was able to go to bed at night. And yeah, I was like, all right, I'm gonna do this because I've always been like a religious kind of guy. I've always like believed in the higher power, and people said that this is kind of as close as you can get to a religious experience. So I was like,
entering a different realm.
Yeah.
What
What is your takeaway from it? So this is out like quick
mean for,
note.
like,
Jack and I
for other people to do
we
it?
talk about everything. The only thing we ever don't talk about is drugs. That's literally it.
Well, you're not really interested.
And there's nothing wrong.
I'm not overly interested either. But,
Well, I'm just probably the only thing we don't talk about.
I mean, I say, if people want to try it, feel free. Definitely would recommend, waiting until your probably mind's more developed. Like, I would definitely wait until I wouldn't do it when you're in high school or like middle school, because that would definitely like probably mess with your brain development or whatever. But,
Are you grateful for it?
Am I grateful for it?
Well, C-Mac has this like resounding experience. Big Fresh seems like he kind of came away with something.
I think it clarified some things for me. It like basically was like, all right, you got the right idea. Like, you're not like it's like you understand. And so I was like, all right, cool. I would say my best experiences have been, my most like spiritual experiences have been when I'm 100% sober and fasted and out in the wilderness and haven't been on my phone.
Oh, the Outward Bound trip.
Yeah, and just being out in the like woods in general, going camping. Those are I always
I get that too.
Doing that versus doing drugs.
Brennan says the same thing. Killcoin. He's said like you hear about the people that have like they rate it as like their number one spiritual experience. Brennan's just like, yeah, it wasn't. I mean, it's great, but he wouldn't rate it highly like that. So it's all personal.
I think I do think I do like some of the things that I've been seeing a lot online about people using it as like a therapy tool. And so I think as alternative therapy, like for people who have like serious like heroin addiction or like other
depression, anxiety,
other like other personality disorders and whatnot. Like, I do think that if there's a way to help these people without prescribing them drugs on a regular occasion and just having them do this one time, this one thing. Like,
it's gonna be legalized in Oregon soon, right?
Well, they have in Colorado. They do the mushrooms. I know a kid.
Psilocybin, right?
Yeah, he's working out there for like therapy and stuff.
How can we like get a GDP brand on some of that stuff? Seems lucrative.
Oh, you're trying to get in there.
Yeah. Also, for cancer patients, they say like to deal with like the anxiety of dying. If a lot of cancer patients have been given these psychedelics and they walk away like not fearful at all of dying, and I can see how that can be too.
I was just gonna add. I was listening to, I think Michael Rosenbaum's podcast. He's like a comedian or actor or whatever. But he was saying, I think it was him who was like dealing with depression, but he had went to this new like clinic that had opened up in LA, and like they do ketamine treatments. And like I've never done ketamine, but like I guess it's supposed to just like.
So that's Special K, same thing.
Yeah, it like sort of paralyzes your like body, so like you're very like just in your mind, and you're able to like I think a little more and like process through things. But
kind of like a hyperbaric chamber.
Yeah, basically like they're kind of like forcing you into that state, and it's like done in like a controlled environment with like doctors and like nurses kind of watching you 24/7. But I thought that was pretty interesting as a treatment.
Well, can I ask you three questions? Have you guys always, since you were young, been curious about testing your consciousness and your reality? Like, were you curious of it when you were young?
I don't know. I mean, I went to church and like that. I don't know if that's the same thing, but there was a point in time in college where I was like, I didn't really like that voice in the back of my head. Like, I was just like, fuck this, like kind of down in the dumps. But so I don't think I've always been like that. I think I definitely changed once I got out of college and started to read
on the mend.
Yeah, exactly.
You started like realigning with some of your positive thoughts.
Yeah.
I think for me, it's been kind of like coming in waves a little bit. Like, almost like these waves of just like existential like crises that like kind of hit you at certain points. But I think the first one that I can kind of imagine is like when I was little and like I realized that like we were gonna die. Like at a certain point, I was probably like 7, and I like just remember like crying like in my mom's lap. And then I think the other time was like when I started learning about space and like kind of realizing that like you can't really conceptualize like what contains the universe.
Dude, those are
And
two
then I
things
was
that
like,
freak me the
what
fuck out.
Yeah. And then I don't know, I think just entering or leaving high school and entering college, you just kind of, whether it's like maturity or like a big chapter of your life like kind of closing, but like you start getting a little more existential and like wondering. So yeah, I feel like just different parts of my like life I've like been like very like strongly curious about things.
I think I was existential when I walked back from Leap and no one picked me up. I had like walked 6 miles home, and I was like looking at the pond. I was like, why didn't anyone pick me up? What's going on here, dog? I mean, Bixx, you've always been pretty curious about testing shit. I have a fond memory of Jack. It was me, him, and then it was another friend of ours named Ian Arthur. We were all sleeping in his treehouse, and Jack was like looking up, and there was like a shadow, and Jack was like, he's like, I'm trying to see the silhouette of my hand. And I was like, all right.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm just always on that.
Yeah, but you've always
I've
been,
been like that.
yeah.
Since birth.
You think so?
Yeah, for sure.
So
Kids are innately curious, I feel like.
no, what I mean is I've never been one to be like, and mind you, I'm like kind of a control freak. So like I've never been one to be like, oh, I really want to see what this is like. You know, when I smoked weed and got smacked, I got smacked, boy. It was no joke, Slugs.
Weed does something different to you that does not do.
Well,
most people.
it's because I'm obsessive. So like I could lock in on the good thoughts, right, really easily when I'm baked, and so I would laugh for hours, man, right?
Yeah,
but
it
if I
would
lock
actually
in on
be
that
15
negative
minutes.
thought, bro,
Yeah.
whoa.
You talking about freshman year?
There's been
Yeah,
freshman year, an exciting time for everybody, man. But yeah, there was that time at PC.
Yeah, in the bathroom.
Well, because I had a bong rip, and like the devil, this kid, I won't even shout him out, but it was one of C-Mac's old roommates, sprinkled keef on it without telling me. And it was the first time I ever did a bong rip, and I was like, guys, listen, I get weird off the weed, everybody. Everyone's like, oh my, everyone's like, dude, this is gonna be sick. Coach is finally smoking. This is fire. And so they locked me in. So I'm like laughing. I'm like, yeah, this is awesome, right? So I look away. He like sprinkles the keef on it, right? Okay, done, right? Then instantly. Freaking. I thought there was a kid named, and he'll probably listen to this because he listened to a bunch. There's a kid named MCAS who would come on our floor a bunch. I literally thought he was Yoshi. Because he had just gotten a haircut. I was like, oh my God. Slugs, do you have any like desire to try it? I know your family will probably listen to this, so we don't have to like say yes or no.
Not real. Like I don't really like the feeling of like not having control. Like I still like drink and smoke and stuff, but like I just don't like that feeling ever. Anyways, it's more of a social thing for me.
Oh, so like you would like smoke at a party type thing?
Yeah, but like not really. I have no desire to do like psychedelics or anything.
Yeah, I feel you. So, are you guys like satisfied with your experience? Was it what you imagined it was going to be like?
I don't know if it's what I imagined, but it was, I didn't have a bad experience.
You went back for seconds, right?
I went back for seconds, and I pushed on the second one too.
Oh.
But yeah, I mean, I think that was also just like a time of the period of my life where I was trying to push the limits a little bit. I was a little bit reckless.
It's back in the dark days, man.
Some of my darker days when I wasn't that responsive and whatever.
That was the 1 year where me and Jack didn't talk.
We did not talk much, no.
When was this?
It's freshman year of college when he was at Pitt.
Oh, yeah.
There was like it wasn't that long, but it was like 5-6 months where Jack was just like, we just like weren't talking. It's weird.
I always heard stories about this kid at Pitt.
I was gone.
Yeah.
I honestly didn't know much. I still don't know much, but I do know that me and him went on a Yakuza mission We drove all the way from Lincoln to Pittsburgh through the night, right? We're falling asleep at the wheel. This is bad, bro. We show up to Pitt,
We were seeing shit.
and like Jack was literally living in a shanty town. There was like trash everywhere, and it was this really strange neighborhood. And I like look at Jack. I'm like, what the fuck's been going on with you, bro? He's like, yo, bro, let's just get out of here, dude. He's like packed up the truck and left.
Exactly what's been going on.
So yeah, Big Fresh, would you say like you were satisfied?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm satisfied in the sense that I didn't have like a bad trip. Like nothing like really like haunted me really, but also at the same time I didn't really come out of it with any like big like realizations. Like
There was no awakening for you.
not really. I think like when I like did acid, I was like, oh, like I should go outside more, but like that was really it. That's how like the concept of like balance kind of came along. I was like, oh, like every like thing you do in life needs to be like balanced, and like everything kind of has its appropriate time or not. But I guess that is some sort of like realization, but nothing like crazy that like I've like carried with myself to this day, you know.
Which is interesting. Yeah, some people have a profound effect like you, C-Mac, and some don't.
Yeah.
It just, I guess it just affects everyone's brain chemicals kind of different.
Definitely.
I
Depends
think
on the
also
person.
like if you're like, I don't know how much of like a smoker you are, but like I feel like with weed it's like all these like little like micro trips, you know, so like you kind of get used to it over time, like, and you kind of learn how to analyze and take away whatever you want if you want it, and then kind of just disregard the rest. Like I don't know if you feel like the same way, but
Yeah, I like that point. That's a decent point. Yeah, I think it's, you know, it is how you deal with it on a mental thing, like how you perceive it. Because if you perceive it one way, like it could throw you off, and then you perceive it the other way, and it supports whatever you like want it to mean. And so, you know, I think you take everything with a grain of salt, and you know, try to enjoy it. You don't fight it, and that's all I'd have to say about it.
Is there anything else you guys are trying to fuck around with? Like any other drugs you've been like curious about taking?
I want to take shrooms. I haven't done that. And then this DMT stuff sounds pretty interesting.
Oh God.
Big Fresh, you take DMT yet or?
I don't think I want to.
Why?
I feel like that's just a realm that I'm probably not ready for.
That's the dream drug, right? Like your brain produces DMT when you're sleeping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you like put it in a
I don't know.
smoothie or something? What do you do with that?
I'm not trying to just like experience death, like in that sense.
Is that what it is?
I like a lot of people when they say like you break through, it's like everyone literally describes it as like, oh, like I felt like I died and like came back. And that's why I think a lot of people like say when they like come out of a DMT trip, they're like, oh, I stopped like fearing death, because like they literally like, experienced death.
Is that what happens when you die? Your brain releases DMT?
That's what I heard. I don't know the science behind it.
All I know about it is it lasts like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
It's real quick.
Intense.
I
It's
think
just in the most intense.
I've also heard it's like kind of an outward experience. So you kind of like leave your body like and see everything from.
I heard this like crazy story. I don't know if it's true, but like someone said that their friend like tripped DMT for like 10-15 minutes maybe, and like came back, and like when he came back he was like, what the fuck, like everyone's like oh, like what happened? He's like, I literally like spent a year as like a rice farmer in China. Like lived through his life, and like that's just like
That's Inception.
that's so crazy that it could be like possible just because of like the effects that it could have on your brain and like the chemicals and stuff. But like I don't know, it's just like, I mean, you experienced like time differently on drugs, so like it's like completely plausible, but like that's just like a crazy experience.
Wow. So what interests you about it, C-Mac?
Just the stories heard and the.
There's nothing
things
wrong
I've
with it.
read.
I'm just wondering.
No, I know, and I don't know. I mean, obviously, I think that'd be the last thing I try because I've heard it's the most intense. But I feel like if I don't do it, then I might be missing something. You know.
I feel you. I totally feel you on that. There's some things that if they're on your mind for a while, you're like, damn, I kind of just got to get this thing done. Have you ever thought about Slugs? No. What are the kids doing at school nowadays? Like, what was really popular when we were sophomores? Like, there was this huge Xanax boom where kids started taking Xans like crazy. Do kids still do Xans?
I mean, you're not that much older than me.
But these little, you know, they go quick. The
little fads.
Yeah, the fads, they go quick.
Yeah,
Like-
they still are taking Xans.
What about SERP?
I don't even know what that is.
Kids were doing drank at PC.
Yeah, kids were doing it in
I guess
Pittsburgh
so.
too.
It was
Xans were
all-
massive.
Yeah.
No, Xans went crazy our
That was
sophomore
fucked.
year.
That was so
Everyone was
fucked.
doing those.
I had,
They-
sophomore year, I had a roommate who like dealt Zans
Oh,
at Brandeis.
he was
and
making cake.
Not only that, but like he would get them off the dark web, and like sometimes I would see just like this Ziploc that was probably like the size of this laptop screen, just filled with like probably like thousands of them. And it's just, like so crazy to see all those in like one setting, but
Huge boom.
yeah,
Like it was crazy, and it
So
was like,
bad
and it was
for
like very, it was culturally very popular at that time too.
Yeah.
Like in music,
Yeah.
and
Mhm.
Lil Xan.
it was huge,
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah.
And then it kind of died out.
because people
Percocets
started
are
dying
big
out.
now too, right?
Yeah, it's like the new one, I guess.
You,
Which is-
you ever
it's
do
a-
perk, Jack?
I never was into pills. I never liked them.
You didn't do it.
I did Zans for a little bit.
You liked it.
Yeah, I mean, like I liked it at the time, but like it's like really, really just bad for you. Like
It's that
your
zombie.
mind starts deteriorating. Like you start forgetting shit. I was very like irritable, like just 24/7. It's like it's not a good move.
Really addictive.
And like the thing is, like I don't understand how like people who need it, like how they like just operate. Like when you have to take that daily and like kind of just. you
They
know,
can't unless they have it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the fucked up thing is that doctors can give this to you. Like, it's not something that should be like that.
I just don't. And again, I never want to get political, especially on mics. But I don't get why the first thing doctors should say is, dude, go work out for 3 weeks and go eat clean for 3 weeks before you dish out pills. It makes no sense. Literally makes no sense.
because you don't make any money prescribing exercise to people.
Yeah.
That's a fact.
I mean, maybe like BSG should like, or like Equinox should cut doctors a check for getting new clients.
Referrals, yeah. Why not, though?
Yeah.
Because, like, the pills are so bad. This is coming from me, dude. I was so hooked on the sauce. And it came in waves. But, like, I was so reliant day-to-day using it to think, even. I couldn't think when I was off of it.
Yeah.
And then you realize, like, holy shit, this is like another dude kind of controlling my brain. It's a dude in the lab making something because he knows it's going to affect my brain in a weird way.
Yeah.
It's the truth. What are you laughing at, Jack? You want to get chokeslammed?
I just like the old stories of the sauce days.
Yeah.
I got some crazy sauce
Those were
stories, boy.
crazy days.
I might have to be Adderall boy again soon. Watch out.
No. Just go to the gym.
You know, we got a
Eat
big
healthy.
project coming.
Yeah.
I'm a different dude on that stuff, man.
Yeah.
C-Mac, it was I'll tell you one thing. The worst was the first semester of junior year of school.
Mhm.
I would pop to sauce like 3 p.m. and then I'd be like, I'm gonna outwork everybody. I'm not gonna be a good student, but I'm gonna outwork everybody. I know this, right? So I'd be like editing videos, filming videos, or whatever. And then at 2 a.m, I would drive to Johnston, Rhode Island, from PC, so like a 20-minute drive, and I would go into an Anytime Fitness at 24-hour fitness, and I would go in there and I would drink pre-workout at 2 a.m.
Dude.
I swear to God.
Yeah.
And I got caught like snagging a couple protein bars I wasn't supposed to snag, and they kicked me out. Did I tell you the story?
No, but I know about the ending.
They called me like, "Don't come back, man! You're taking all our bars."
That's hilarious.
Swipe.
Jeez. Yeah, those
So
pills.
do you have your like prescription still? Or
I stopped it completely. Well, what's today's date?
today
January
is
6th.
January 6th.
Yeah, don't have it anymore.
So if you have to like, or if you wanted to go back, you'd have to get another prescription from
Yep.
the doctor. Okay.
And if I do go back because of this project, I'd be like, yo, I just want to. I don't want to be able to come back for a refill. Just give me a 1 month supply.
You really think it'd get to that though? Like, why?
Dude, I loved the cake.
Yeah.
You don't get it. I was popping the Skittles, boy. I was crazy on those things. I'm like, damn, I can edit. Like, I'm a nasty editor. You guys don't get it with this footage. I can edit like a maniac. But it's when I'm on that cake, it's a different guy. And I fiend it sometimes. No joke.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God. It'd be so nice to just whip this all
I
out.
would
Do you like it, Freshie?
Yeah, I mean that's why I like brought up that like ADHD thing in the beginning, because I feel like, well, like at least like when I take it, I feel like that's how my brain kind of should operate like normally, because everything
that's
just
what
feels so like seamless.
That's what society wants you to act like.
Maybe, or like maybe like that's what I want myself to like act like.
That's what I thought too, bro. Trust me. I know what you mean though. You're like, oh my god, I'm so productive. I can get things done. I'm not
But like
procrastinating.
I would hate to get dependent on it and like feel like I couldn't do things without it. That would be a bad point.
I just got to a point where it's like I feel like you're born with the brain you're born with, and like if you aren't gifted with certain abilities, then you're not supposed to have them. I'm not supposed to be good at computer work.
You can develop it though, no?
Yeah.
You could through discipline. Like I'll still type a million emails a day through discipline, but like I just sometimes think you're just born with things. Like it would be a travesty if Jack wasn't creative. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but he's also gotten more creative over the years because he's worked at that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so it's something that you develop over time.
Don't you also sometimes think like we're in a crazy competitive society and it might be a waste of time to work on your weaknesses?
No.
No.
Because I think those who are specialized are going to kind of drown out. I think we're going to start. Everybody's going to the more time we have on our hands, the more expanded we're going to get in our skill sets. And I think that's going to be what makes it is
I actually
how
agree
far
with you.
can reach.
I actually agree with you. Were you going to say something for us? Well, see, Mac, like I actually agree with you. I'm like, damn, you kind of actually have to be multi-talented as hell out here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, well, the other thing I was gonna say is like discipline is really just kind of like synonymous with habits, right?
Absolutely.
Like you do the things that you want to do, but you like don't have the discipline for, quote unquote, little by little every day, and then by the end of like I think what is it, like 22 days that they say like it takes to build a habit or whatever.
3
like
weeks I've heard.
you become like somewhat disciplined in that area of whatever you're doing.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be uncomfortable when you start it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I think just doing that, like getting to that starting point and kind of crossing it is probably the hardest step. I don't know if that answered your question.
No, I'm like very grateful to like learn about the drug stuff, honestly. Well, it interests me a lot, like because I just have never had this like desire to do it.
Yeah.
But like people really enjoy it.
There was a point in my life where I was just like, that's never going to happen. I can never do that. But then as things started to change, I was like, all right, no. So you don't know. Maybe 20, 30 years down the road, it might come to you. Or 5. Or 2.
Whoa. Okay. Anything else on anyone's mind right now? Slugs? What do you got coming up? Anything fun?
Not really.
The event's going to be sweet.
I know I'm excited.
Let's go. Anything else anyone wants to hit on? I kind of want to run these more regularly. Like, I would love to.
I'd be down.
Yeah.
We'll have to get Frankie. We'll do more mics. We'll have to get Frankie Films and Sammy Spielberg in here, too.
You think we created any value?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we cut up. Slugs, what do you want to do for the clips? And what do you want to call the episode?
Oh, you're putting me on the spot.
I'll tell you what we can call the episode. It's going to be called Meet the Team.
Oh, well, that's very creative.
You got a problem with me? I think we'll do a clip about C-Mac and his experience on the acid. I think we should do one clip right at the start when I went total promo mode, because then we can use that to promote. Know what I'm saying? And then number 3, I mean, we should all collaborate and be like, hey guys, this is the GDP podcast team. What's up, everybody?
How about we do like a voicemail kind of thing, like a family voicemail?
Family voicemail?
We'd be like, hey, this is Jack, this is Conor, this is Sarah.
Yeah.
Oh, and pass it around?
Kind of like that.
Or like, hi, you've reached the GDP team. Please leave a message.
Ooh,
Like, that
ooh,
kind of voice.
I like that. That's fire. Okay, yeah, so we'll start off with C-Mac. Oh, actually, you know what we'll do? You know how we punch the episode? This is our golden hour. Let's just do a massive collabo. Like, hey, I'm Chris, or I'm making fun of you. I'm Bixx. And pass it around, right? And then we'll have Slugs say, and this is our golden hour.
Nice, I like it.
Okay, so we'll start with C-Mac. Also, this camera looks amazing.
Yeah.
It's
Well done.
unbelievable.
This is C-Mac, a.k.a. Young Fountain of Youth.
Yes, sir.
And this is Jack Bigelow.
And this is Abu, aka Big Fresh.
And this is Conor Holway. otherwise known as Coach Connie.
And this is Sarah Slugs, and that was our golden hour.